In 1997, Tim Wade won a Queen Elizabeth Scholarship to study wood carving in Slovakia. Awaiting his return was a right royal invitation.
I got invited to Clarence's house and met the Queen Mum, and she was lovely. She was great. She was everyone's ideal granny. We had gin and tonics, which is the Queen Mother's drink, white wine, cheapish sort of German white wine, cucumber sandwiches, and very sort of nice and working class. And she walked around with her little corgis, and she spent 20 minutes with me talking about my carvings.
For a humble woodman, Tim's had a surprising number of royal encounters. Many people, when they get a bit of money, might buy a house, but not Tim. He's invested all his money in 2 pieces of woodland in Powys.
I love being in woodlands. I love being in the countryside. I think nature is very important. It's amazing a tree can stand there for 200 years. Imagine you standing for 200 years and not moving, just swaying your head a bit in your arms.
Tim loves working outdoors with skills from a bygone age that depend entirely on human power.
This actual lathe is about 20 years old. I made it myself, but the technique has been going since Egyptian days. But I do enjoy working with a whole range of equipment, from old lathes operated with a strong left muscular thigh, and also ones with a modern electric motor. And out here in this beautiful atmosphere, working away in nature without electricity or noise, perfect.
Wherever he can, Tim uses timber from his own woodland. Every part of every tree he fells will be used to make something, even the smallest twig.
My sort of motto is from the tree or from the forest to the final form, and I go for the whole tree solution, so making use of the whole tree rather than wasting all those things which people normally waste in forests.
Homegrown trees into usable timber, Tim needs a high-powered sawmill.
When you cut wood, the dust off wood or the shavings off wood have some sort of chemical in there, like a drug, which makes you addicted to it. And it's probably true. The woodland I've got, I put into trust for my own daughter and my sister's kids, and later on when I'm dead and gone, they'll get the wood, and hopefully they'll appreciate it and maybe set up that as a trust fund for their kids, and the woodland will stay as a woodland within the family and friends, but most importantly it will be a woodland and it won't be destroyed.
Once, Tim used to race coracles, but now he's happy just to make them.
And I've always loved coracles because they're the oldest boat that exists in the world. They go back 3,000 or 4,000 years. So coracles are great because they're made out of local material, out of bits of hazel or ash which you get just here, and they're like a basket or half a walnut shell covered with a skin and painted with bitumen. And over the years, coracles have been a part of my business, so I've made a few coracles. I put them outside the workshop, and it's like putting a big sign outside a potato store saying sex, and it draws the people in, you know. People come in and see a coracle and they see a bit of furniture and buy a wooden flower.
It may be hard making a living as a craftsman, but Tim's a survivor. Running workshops and sharing his skills help pay the way.
I was invited to the Cook Islands about 3 years ago, and I went there to do an aid project to teach people craft and to put that craft in relationship to make a bit of money so they could help themselves. But when we arrived there, a cyclone hit the island, and we weren't only teaching craft, we were making a hospital, a church, some housing, a runway. But it was a fantastic experience to be on an island in the middle of the Pacific called Puka Puka, the island of danger, 1,200 miles north of the rest of the Cook Islands. No electricity, no telephone, no shop, no chocolate biscuits, no tinnies of beer, nothing, just bananas, coconuts, tuna, flying fish, and beautiful people.
Tim helped the local people turn the abundant supply of palm wood into a business. He trained local craftspeople to make a range of beautiful and practical products that sell, wouldn't you know it, over the internet. For Tim, the trip was a glimpse of paradise.
My perfect place would be a woodland next to the sea. That would just be down here. That would really get me going, you know. And the boat just down there in the corner of my eye, so I could just get away and escape.
Back in Wales, Tim is busy in his workshop.
This chair is a traditional chair, but with a bit of a modern flair to it, something which I made myself and designed myself. And I'm giving this as a surprise gift to Claire Owen, who I'm visiting tomorrow night with an estimate.
Tim's special customers have just built this traditional style house near Brecon and want 8 dining chairs to go with a table he's already made them.
Well, that's a lovely chair, Tim. I really like that. I like the back where you've curved it. I just think I'd like the legs slightly different. I'd like the legs the same shape.
Claire's well used to the quality of Tim's workmanship.
Yes.
As well as the extending table, her kitchen boasts several of Tim's one-off pieces. Tim's happy to make furniture to order, but what he really craves is the financial independence to allow him to fulfill his wilder creative aspirations.
I wish I could make a lot more money to succeed in what I want to do. And so I'm forced to actually make things that people ask me to do. Whereas my ultimate goal would be to make things which I want to make, and somebody says, I like that, and they buy it.
But every now and then a project comes along that lets Tim's creative imagination run wild. This is the Giant's Chair he made for the Snowdonia National Park.
You would sit on it, and the landscape in Snowdonia is outstanding. You feel really small in that landscape because there's that lake and Snowdon soaring up in the air. And I wanted people to have that feeling when they sat in the chair, they were like sat in the landscape. The landscape around is overpowering, and they're small, minuscule. The lettering on the back is in both Welsh and English, so that people can read a bit about their natural heritage around the place.
Being creative is as important to Tim as pleasing the people he meets through his work. In a world overwhelmed by the mass-produced, Tim's work stands out as something individual and handcrafted that will always have an enduring appeal.
I think with anything creative you do, if you could say, honestly say, I've done it all and I know it all, you'd be the biggest liar in the world. There are so many things to learn. I'm learning all the time. I'm 45, young at heart. I feel like an 11-year-old most of the time. I wish life was 100 times longer for the things I want to do. So if I'm working, I may as well enjoy it.